But McDougall Acres Grainex, we just rebranded our company. We're now called McDougall Acres Grainex. So for some of you who've never heard of me, it doesn't matter. But we do have a new brand. We're just very quickly about our company. We're more than a 100-year farm. Started in 1916, and we started being a seed grower in the 90s, and we've added things. We've built seed plants, we've added bins, a bunch of different things. We won't go into details, but what I'm here to do today is talk about seed, and part of that is part of why we do seed. One of the things we do is we definitely export chickpeas. So as we've expanded our processing and built a second plant and started partnering with some awesome people. We've had to upgrade equipment and storage and began exporting into Europe, and our rebrand is part of that process. So certified seed is what we do, but we're not going to talk about our seed varieties. That's not what we're here to do, other than a couple specific on chickpeas. We do offer a bit of a portfolio. Again, not here to talk about our varieties. Come on, there we go. We are here to talk about chickpeas though. So we have been growing chickpeas on our farm for about 30 years, off and on, of course. The varieties that first came out were all American-based, and they were really crappy. No other way to put it. I remember as a younger person, we could lose a chickpea crop over a weekend of high humidity. So that is not what I'm promoting today. That was the nightmare of the 90s, really, and later than that. But the new chickpea varieties that are bred at the CDC in Saskatoon are awesome. They are, the standard of the breeding programs are tremendous. We're a very huge supporter of the breeding programs like Stamp Seeds is, and the CDC people we've got to know quite well over the last number of years. So we've been waiting for new chickpea varieties for a very long time. There has been a number of varieties that have been introduced over the last 5 to 7 years. Most of those varieties we didn't pick up. We didn't like whether it's size profile or some of the characteristics of the actual seed, because we are an exporter, we're a processor. So we were waiting for a small seed chickpea, and we were waiting for a large seed chickpea. So that what I'm talking to you about today, the new CDC Pearl and the new CDC Pasqua are what we waited for, and now we're very much involved with these two varieties. And just so you understand, we own the marketing rights for outside of Saskatchewan for these two varieties, so we can sell to you, and we're going to be working with the Stamp Seeds in regards to being able to do that. So if you're buying Pearls or Pasqua from somebody else, technically, that is, it has to come through us. So we'll talk about CDC Pearl first. It's a very small caliber chickpea. So for chickpea growers, by the way, let's stop for a second. How many people in this room have grown chickpeas before? Or are growing chickpeas? Okay, we got chickpea growers, perfect. So I'm assuming you're growing Orion or leaders, probably. Is that common varieties? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Well, this variety is going to be a much smaller variety than what you're used to hearing from. It's a 6, 7, 8 millimeter chickpea. Leaders and Orions are more normally a 7, 8, 9. Problem with leaders and Orions, the 9 millimeters are probably only 20%, and this year maybe 5%. So the leaders and Orions can be, for a large caliber chickpea, can be smaller. So this variety is not a 9 millimeter. This is a 6, 7, 8. So we're targeting specific markets with this variety. We're targeting specific traits. The traits we're targeting are the smaller seed sizes. So we've got markets established in Europe that literally buy the 7s and the 8s from us specific. We ship on almost a weekly basis these two size profiles, and there's some extreme interest in this variety. It has kind of displaced some of the other small caliber chickpeas that were grown in the past, just because of some of the characteristics with not a smooth seed coat, slightly angular, that you can't really tell from that picture, but there's some other things we'll talk about. So with this variety, Greg asked me to talk about some numbers. We will have seed available through Stamps. It's 68 cents a pound bare seed. There will be a treating option, of course, with Stamps. Talk to them about that. It's roughly $6 a bushel, but again, I don't know the programs here, and is that about right, Blair? So approximate seed cost per acre is $89. I know that's a big number. 115 pounds per acre seeding rate is what you need for this variety. So when you're comparing that to a pea, of course, it's much less. This is a brand new variety that is, this will only be our 3rd year commercially available, so it is very new. So we are offering you varieties that are actually quite literally off the shelf. So other budget items to consider when you're talking about chickpea growth, you'd need to inoculate. The $15 would be a granular option, probably a high-end option. There's multiple options, and I'm sure Stamps will have options for you in regards to that. We suggest some kind of a pre-product like an Authority Supreme. We do all ours in the fall. You can put Authority Supreme on in the spring. Do not put Focus on in the spring for pre. But Supreme you can. We really like that product for kochia control. Then for Sencor, for more grassy control, or Solo, because it is Clearfield tolerant. All the new varieties now are Clearfield tolerant, not like the leaders and the Orions that are not. So maybe another $20 for some other weed control if you need it. We recommend at least 40 pounds of FOS actual, so about $20 an acre of FOS, 3 fungicides minimum. So in Saskatchewan, we talk to all our growers about 3 passes of fungicide. For some guys, that scares them off right off the bat. That's fine. But if you don't protect that chickpea when it is literally 2 inches tall, first pass with a very good product, you have a very real chance of that getting infected fairly quickly, and your crop will be your crop will be detrimentally affected if you don't protect it very quickly. So we have some things that we talk about with our growers that we would share as well. But I would recommend budgeting for 3 passes. Regulone for a desiccant is widely accepted still for all our buyers that we participate with in Europe. Roundup is not a banned product yet in Europe, but it will be. If you're going to grow chickpeas, I would highly recommend you do not spray glyphosate. If you do, max 30% moisture, please, and no more than 0.67. There is very high risk of MRL restrictions if you surpass that. So total extra cost before insurance. I didn't add insurance into this slide because I don't know how your Alberta insurance compares to our insurances, but $125 cash. The total cash cost $214 an acre. So I just go right into Pasqua. We'll come back to a summary, but Pasqua, very different variety. So the people that grow leaders and Orions here, this is kind of like a leader and an Orion on steroids. So these are an 8, 9, 10 millimeter product. The seed guide actually shows them as basically a very small percentage higher than our larger seed size than an Orion, but our experience now in 4 years of growing this product is that it's much bigger than an Orion and a leader. So if you can grow a 10 millimeter, we are competing with some of the American chickpeas like the Sawyer in the States. We're not competing with the Mexican or the Indian 12 to 14 millimeter, but we are providing a product that people haven't had from Canada ever before, or since the Sanford dwellies that nobody liked to grow. And 10 millimeters are very, very attractive to the world market. So this, even in we had about 10,000 acres of commercial production in Saskatchewan this year, and even in the drought areas that had like max 3 inches of rain, with no subsoil, they grew 5% 10s. Like, it was kind of shocking actually, where around Moose Jaw, where we had 8 to 10 inches of rain, I think our highest 10 millimeter percentage was 25. So 10 millimeters will make your revenue per acre much higher than anything else you can grow for a chickpea. But this Pasqua is a very strong yielding variety with a good disease package, better than leaders and Orions, but a much bigger size profile. So part of the problem with that, of course, is seeding rate. So we take the 10s out when we sell the seeds. So the 10s we take out, sell them commercially, and sell the 8s and 9s for pedigreed seeds. So 160 pound estimate. Both these seeding rates, by the way, are estimates because both of these are not yet cleaned, so we don't have a post-cleaning germ. So just add that as a caveat. Seed treatment about the same, $6 a bushel, so it's about $132 an acre seeding rate or seeding cost. So I know that's a very large number. The chickpea prices are still holding up in these seed values. Again, this is brand new. We literally launched this product last year, so this is year 2 commercially available for Pasqua in Western Canada. And I know there's no growers in Alberta yet, so this is a brand new product. So total other cash cost would be the same as the Pearl, except we would assume 4 passes of fungicide. This is all dry land, by the way. This is not, we don't have any experience with irrigation, chickpeas on irrigation, just to be clear. There is some irrigation in Saskatchewan, but we don't have any chickpeas being grown on that at this point. So 4 passes of fungicide, about 140 bucks, so total cash cost 272. So what we talked about, Greg wanted to have a bit of a comparison. So I had to, of course, do a bit of an estimate for yields. So I tried to take a middle of the road average. The Pearl is going to be the strongest yielding chickpea you can grow. I used 35 bushels an acre in Saskatchewan. That was kind of a, in the good growing regions that had rain, that was kind of a good average. With Pasqua slightly less than that, but Pearls are going to be a little bit less because there's 6, 7s, and 8s. The 8 millimeter right now is actually at a discount right now because of a bunch of world factors that Ellie will briefly touch on. Pasqua are going to be worth more. The 10s are worth a lot more. Today we're buying 10s for 49 cents a pound, just to give you an idea, and 9 millimeters worth 47. So the Pasqua are going to be worth more. Cash costs are higher, about the same net income. So I just did a quick comparison with lentils. So lentils, if you can grow a 30 bushel lentil, you're going to grow a 35 bushel chickpea. That's kind of my gauge that I tell people. So I don't know what your lentil yields are here. Chickpeas have become a much bigger thing in southern Saskatchewan because of root rot. So a lot of our guys that have been growing, lentil, durum, pea durum, bad rotation, that's massive root rot in our area. Even the guys that have introduced canola in our area, like we don't have irrigation, so canola, durum, lentil, canola, durum, pea, still bad. Massive root rot issues. So 32 bushel lentil in round Moose Jaw actually is not that common anymore, where we used to shoot for 50, just to give you an idea. So green lentils are going to be a slight discount to a red lentil. I did some cash costs estimates based off one fungicide pass, same FOSS, same chemical program basically. Everything coming out of the CDC now is Clearfield, so whether it's a chickpea, a red lentil, green lentil, yellow pea, green pea of course. So yellow pea, green peas in Saskatchewan average about 35 bushels an acre. At the prices today, those numbers don't look that attractive. I know you guys grow a lot more peas than we do, so you double those bushels, those numbers get a little bit different. It's, again, root rot is a massive issue that we're trying to help with the chickpeas. So chickpeas do not have the same root rot strain. So Aphanomyces with the chickpeas, it's a fusarium root rot. So for you folks that don't grow chickpeas or haven't grown many chickpeas ever, that's definitely not going to be an issue, and it can help you with your Aphanomyces. So estimates for yield, like I said here, 2 or better quality was assumed. These are 2 or better prices today. Basically, we do, of course, on all our contracts, we do have a feed price, and today a feed chickpea price worth about 28 cents. So next slide, production contracts. So because we own the marketing rights, what we're doing is we're offering seed, these 2 seed products through Stamped Seeds with production contracts attached. We buy grain. In Moose Jaw, we buy a lot of chickpeas for export purposes and for domestic. So because we've had to invest in the marketing rights, we're offering production contracts. We don't have that number available yet. It's just a little bit too early. We will have our production contract pricing available by the Crop Production Show. We do have a booth there, so please come see us if you happen to go to Saskatoon this winter. So again, contracts attached to both these varieties. We do offer production contracts for other varieties as well. The timing of the offers to coincide with appropriate market intel, I'll touch on that a little bit. Delivery options for fall delivery or later. Prices for all for 2 or better and sample quality. So we always have a 2 or better and a sample quality, and of course we have FOB pricing available. So we have a large number of trucks that are coming from Alberta into Saskatchewan for our business. So it's actually not that difficult for FOB pricing. Overage contracts and pricing along with delivery opportunities are offered throughout the year, so we're always buying chickpeas. So we try to set ourselves apart a little bit from our competitors, that it's very, very variable as far as when there's chickpea offers. We have a very consistent business that buys chickpeas year round. So, and we're working on expanding that all the time. Active God clause in all our contracts with first and last word refusal. So I want to crack at your chickpeas out, the contracted amount we will take for sure under contract, under the terms of that contract. The overage of the contracts, You know, this is a free country. You can talk to any buyer. We just want the first and last crack at those chickpeas. We will have an aggressive bid at all times. So Grainex, we will be fully licensed and bonded with the Canadian Grain Commission by the end of March. So with our rebranding, we've had some bit of a delay in that, but we will be fully licensed and bonded, so you can check us out when you're selling us stuff. Then the year 1 and 2 after, farm safe seed is allowed. So we're not saying you have to sell us all your production and buy new seed every year. There's definitely programs like that out there. That's not what we do. We will, we do allow farm safe seed, but we do want a crack at your production. So we will be looking for some kind of a production contract on your farm safe seed for the following 2 years. After that, it'll be open. We're hoping to have new varieties by then. We actually have a couple new varieties on the back burner, well, not the back burner, but being reproduced right now. So we will have new varieties to offer, and at that point, you can decide what you'd like to do with your acres on chickpeas if it works for your farm. So just a quick note about plant raiders' rights, because we will be kind of in charge of enforcement, which is not a fun thing to do, but farm safe seed cannot be sold to other farmers. It cannot be shared with other farmers. It's just something I have to say at every presentation, because we're going to be tasked with that. Grainex will have marketing options for screenings, for reclaim, produced from seed cleaning, and/or sizing of seeds. So we do buy chickpeas other than 2 or better. So if you have, frost or hail or both, or screenings, or you're sizing off your unders or sizing off your overs to seed your unders, we have all kinds of options for purchasing that type of grain. So, Ali, come on out. So I wanted to introduce Ali Siddiqui. Have you come up right now, Ali? So Ali is my trading partner. So Ali is a friend and a partner that we do all our export chickpea business with. So we have a very select few people, a number of people that we do business with that we can trust, that are transparent and do business like we do with as much ethical principles as possible. And Ali is a guy that we've been working with for just about 10 years now. We trust all our export sales through Ali. He's got an extreme wealth of information as he's built his business over the last 10 or 12 years. So Ali, come on up and I'll give you the mic for a couple minutes, or not a couple minutes, but 5 minutes maximum.
Yeah, then I have a flight. All right. I'll put this back here.
You probably don't need that.
Yeah. Hi, folks. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for having me in Enchant. It is my first time touring through here. I am an honorary resident of Foremost, Alberta, though, so I do know South Alberta very, very well. And Ken is correct. He is my cousin from Saskatchewan. I have a cousin from Foremost here as well. And yes, we are Canada's only dedicated chickpeas company. I think the word is dedicated because this is a perfect niche of a product if you know what varieties to grow and if you know who to deal with on the other side. So it could be a very good, profitable part of your portfolio. So a little bit about me. I'm one of the principals, the main principals of the company. It was started ground up, and so the education and the knowledge also came ground up, which is very important in the commercialization of chickpeas. We have our partnership exclusively with the McDougall family, one of my mentors in Saskatchewan, and his hundreds of growers in Saskatchewan all direct their chickpeas to our institution. We export to 30 countries today. We started with 1 just over a decade ago. And the interesting thing about chickpeas, that the price of chickpeas has nothing to do with your lentils or peas or any other pulse commodity. It is purely a supply and demand business. And why I like it is because it keeps the speculators away. So it is a supply demand. And if you're talking to people who know the demand and the supply side, then it becomes a very educational item on your farm. Greg, you just met me today, but I've heard of stamp seeds now from down south a few times, more related to faba beans and things like that. So I do appreciate the invite, though I was given 48-hour notice I had to be in Enchant. So book this flight on Friday night. So commercialization of chickpeas. Because I've only got a few minutes, I would like to speak to the folks who are interested in chickpeas. Because I can speak for 20 days on this commodity, but I only saw 4 to 5 hands raised. So I'm assuming you folks know a little bit about chickpeas and you know why you're growing them. So I guess the question here, if this is a growth opportunity, then how many of you are thinking about chickpeas? Now I want to see a real raise. Yeah, okay, so around 10 folks, 10 more folks. And I'm assuming this region is serviced Medicine Hat, Tabor, Bow Island country, right?
Yeah.
Not all the way down to Coots, maybe?
Oh
right?
yeah, all of
Okay.
Southern Alberta.
So, interesting fact. There's a lot more than 10,000 acres that grows in Alberta for chickpeas. Closer to 60,000 acres. We know 3 guys who do 10,000 acres down south, right? And there's a reason. These are some of the original growers. It's been in their rotation for a while, right? And there's a reason it's been in their rotation for a while. So you've got 10 guys thinking, or 10 folks thinking of growing, and then you've got 5 who are already growing. So let me talk about the Pearl and the Pasqua, because let's get specific a little bit about these 2 varieties. Probably after a decade, someone decided to diversify Canada's footprint internationally on chickpeas. And it takes specialists to do that, right? At some point, it's less about the transaction and the economics of the business, because you hit that point. Then you're thinking about the industry. So that was this institution here. And he showed me some seed varieties. And we selected some seed varieties based on listening to those 30 countries. What do they want? And so then he does his magic, takes seed in his palms, and then the Pearl from that in 3 years, what, 30,000 acres? And so that's diversity in 3 years. And as a result of that, more countries are looking at Canada. So let me talk about pearls, because now it is commercial. And so the pearls is a smaller size, right? The 7, the 8. The 6s, yes, Ken did mention 6, but that's really because of the July heat. A lot of 7s became 6s. Fun detail. But the pearl variety may not garner the greatest financial interest, because there's lots of countries growing 7s around the world. But for manufacturing in Canada and America, hummus, a lot of parties have hummus there. These companies prefer the smaller size, okay? And so there's consistency. And then the benefits of agronomy, the number of passes, the fungicide and all that, that's for you folks to do the calculations on. But this variety will eventually appeal to the American and Canadian manufacturing sector. And I'm going to make sure that happens. It's going to take a few years, but I'm going to make sure that that variety does become commercial here. But we are fighting against the Argentinian 7mm, the Turkish 7mm, the Russian garbage 7-8mm. The Europeans are actually looking at Canada very seriously with this. But this isn't a tremendous profit sector, but it's probably good for the farm on yields and all that. The Pasqua is something that's fairly exciting. The folks who've done, the 5 folks who've been growing, it's Orions. I think I saw your hand, sir, maybe? No, I think, yeah. So what are you growing, man? Leaders, Orions?
Yeah, we grew Orions.
Orions, okay. So that's really the standard variety. A lot of my guys, my friends in southern side grow that variety as well. So in the commercial world of chickpeas, the larger the size, the more money it gets. Okay? Rule of thumb. Now the 10mm is a boutique size, because the world of chickpeas is made at the very top of a 12mm chickpea, that's as big as my head, and a 7mm at the very bottom. So there's a lot of chickpeas in that range there. And 11 countries own this market globally of 1.5 million metric tons, approximately. So 7 to 12. For a long time, Canada's been dabbling in the 8 and 9. So just think about what we've done after decades. We've brought in a 7 commercial, and now we're kind of bringing 10. So what are we really doing here? We're giving more options to buyers to come to Canada. I think we've hit our targets of kind of becoming process and exporters and attending shows. It's more about bringing diversity, attention back to Canada. Proof in the pudding. When I joined, 90,000 tons were grown in Canada. 90,000. This last year, 275,000. Right? Obviously that growth is coming on the backs of profits farmers are seeing. Otherwise you wouldn't see that acreage growth, right? So that's how you got to see the Pasqua and the pearls. There is a different segment, unlike red lentils, commodity used really in one way, green lentils, commodity used in one way. But when you're in a world of 11 countries growing a range of chickpeas, you need to position your chickpeas very, very well. And so that's what the McDougall NCA family and my partners in Southern Alberta have done as well over a decade now. So specialization and dedication. And so that's how you want to look at these two varieties from my pal, from a commercial aspect, right? Questions on how to grow them and this and that. Sure, irrigation is not our forte, it's just not a Saskatchewan thing. The guys further south, really, the first folks that I've started seeing samples of irrigated land, and guys we've been regularly working with here, is from this, where is it at? Bow Island, Tabor community. Yeah, and so those chickpeas have been behaving differently. They have been behaving differently, and I'm sure it's because these guys are a little bit new on the irrigation side. More moisture, more size. Drought, beautiful quality. More moisture, you lose color, you gain size. There's a balance. You lose too much color, that very large chickpea, if it doesn't look pretty, it ain't doing anything for you. So it is a balance. And so guys, what I'm trying to say here is it's a specialist program. It requires specialization on my side, but more importantly, since you folks are growers, I'm in a grower community, it requires specialization on good consult from a guy like him, who's been 116 years, you're 116 years old, Ken? How long, farming's 116 years, okay, yeah. He's been doing this for a long time. So that's what I'll say in this short few minutes. And I'd like to just answer any commercial questions at this point, if there are, about this Pearl Pasqua or anything like that. It just seems like it's new. But just know, I don't know a lot about Mr. Stamp here, but I think these two fellas together will be able to guide a lot of you who are thinking about it on what to do, how to do it, and why to do it. Okay?
What climatic or geographical restrictions or guidelines can you give us? Like, where should we and shouldn't we grow these from a geographical standpoint?
You know, I usually run off to Lethbridge and Foremost every time I'm here. And what's crazy about West Montana, Coots, Foremost, Lethbridge, every half an hour, that weather in the winter is different, right? And so really, I think, so let me ask, which town are you from, man?
Well, north of the Bull River.
We actually own this variety. If you're interested in a navy bean, we do have that option. Just quickly, because I'm not trying to compete with you on varieties, but you don't have a navy bean, so that's good. New market expectations, so that's why I wanted to have Ali here talking about growth opportunities into Europe and North America, both for chickpeas, for beans. Again, higher management levels by McDougall Acres and producers to ensure that best quality is available to our customers. We work with every one of our growers to make sure they grow the best crop. We want you to make the most money. So we share our best farming and management practices with everyone. We actively buy most pulse crops. So we buy lentils, peas, chickpeas, and beans, both number 2 or better, and feed or sample grade for pet food. We are a pet food ingredient supplier, so we participate in that market. my food safety guy had to put a slide together, and of course it had to be very full and detailed. But we are SQF certified, which is a very high level of food safety certification. So in a nutshell, that's what you need to know. But we had this, we had to become SQF. It's a massive process with audits and protocols established on a daily basis. So just so you know, we have a very high level of food safety. And there's some of the markets we participate in because of regulatory compliance. You know, we monitor pesticide maximum residue limits, or MRL. So we do a lot of chemical residue testing. So we work with farmers to make sure that what you're putting on your crops is going to likely pass. So there's some things that some tricks of the trade that we've learned over the last 30 years. So that's one of the benefits of being so old. But so Grainex, just very quickly, we track a number of different things. So these are things we can talk about one-on-one, but there's things we track that are targets for some of our customers where they fully reject if we don't. Again, my food safety guy went on, but the key statement there at the bottom, no contribution is too small when it comes to food safety and regulatory compliance. So it is a massive deal. What you'd be doing with growing chickpeas with us, you'd be growing food. So we're very passionate about, because you're growing food, we're going to try to help you grow that food to make sure that it's safe to sell. Because our customers, when there's a problem in Europe, they have no trouble throwing it right back at us, and it's an extremely difficult process when that happens, and we have experienced that, unfortunately. So thank you very much for having us. This was a real treat to be able to speak in front of Stamp Seed's partner growers. So thank you very much. We got 2 minutes for questions if you would like to ask us anything. And Sarah and I will be available the rest of the day, and you can reach out to us at any time. So any questions?
Well, I should make a comment. 100%. So on the dry bean thing, if there is an interest, we can get seed shipped out to us if need be. If there's a dry bean opportunity you want to pursue with Ken. I think on the Trump thing, you just got to get the hummus and the Big Mac. That's the new Big Mac, the hummus Big Mac. And then you do have to leave early. So are you staying for, like, lunch is going to be about 12:30? Yeah. What time do you have to leave?
I'm gonna head to Calgary, man.
At about
fly, just might as well settle there.
Okay. Okay. So grab him on the side before lunch because he might be gone with the next half an hour or whatever. Yeah. So if you do want to talk to Ali specifically, take him by the side. But you'll be around all day as well. And Sarah, give away Sarah. So talk to them about chickpea questions. But tied to Matt's question, I think Vulcan to Brooks stretch is probably okay, but I don't know if I'd go to Strathmore.
So Pearl is about 105-day crop. So technically, Ryan's and leaders are about 110. Pasqua will be 120 days no matter what. So I would not recommend growing Pasqua very, very far north. I'm assuming this would probably be okay in this region south. High risk if you're growing it where 120 days would be a problem. If you don't have a 2 or better chickpea, the value will plummet. We still always have a pet food value, and pet food values the pet food industry have really buoyed the values of sample grade lentils, peas, and chickpeas. I remember selling feed lentils at 5 cents a pound, and we probably haven't seen less than 30 cents a pound for a lentil in 15 years. Chickpeas are right in that same region, right around the 30 cents a pound for feed. But if you could grow 50-cent chickpeas, you want to grow 50-cent chickpeas, not 30. So yeah, 120 days, that's the key on a Pasqua.
Okay. I think it's for the folks who are thinking about bringing chickpeas into your rotation. One of the things you have to know today is that chickpeas are not abusive, but the people who buy chickpeas, there are lots and lots of tricks. You're talking about multiple sizes. You're talking about all types of defects, depending on how the markets are, right? You can have unpleasant surprises. Yes?
We're used to that, whatever we sell.
Yeah, I'm learning this, and I'm no longer surprised, but I'm still surprised. I don't understand that aspect. Maybe I'll never will. But maybe it's meant to be that way. But the problem is that people will make you believe that you've got number 2 and you've got feed.
Not true. Because we're present in 30 countries around the world, there's a market for everything. It's not just this or feed. And so I think what Mr. McDougall was suggesting is when in the production contract, there is that price that can be established for pet food or something if something goes wrong. Important to keep that in mind.
Thanks, boss.
Oh, okay.
Are these varieties indeterminate?
Indeterminate?
Yeah.
They will keep growing, yes. If you have moisture, they will keep growing. Likely you will have to spray a desiccant, like a regulome, likely. Like in the far south Saskatchewan where from July 1st it didn't rain till it snowed in November, they didn't have to desiccate. It was that hot, it brought those chickpeas in. Normally your low spots are going to stay green. We recommend cutting out your low spots, frankly. Keep the lowest quality product in a separate bin. There's always a market for it. We pick up feed chickpeas from all over Western Canada. But cut out your low spots. Even when you're desiccating, you might want to not desiccate the low spots if they're dead ripe. Like we've seen rank, chickpeas this tall and low spots that it just doesn't want to stop. They will keep growing, those low spots. Yeah, it's a good question.
Matt?
On an Ephedamyces scale, where would you put them to peas and lentils?
Well, it's a completely different strain. So no Ephedamyces for chickpeas. It's a fusarium strain of root rot.
Okay, so and then on the fungicide, you want to get it at flowering and then just set your wash to every 14 days? Or?
No, you're gonna spray your first pass of fungicide on chickpeas at 2 inches, at 10 nodes max. So if you're spraying later than 10 nodes, likely you are gambling with your crop. So what we've learned over the last 30 years, but especially from dealing with the breeders that we work with, they think we're all crazy spraying just before flower. They spray at 10 nodes max, and most breeders will only spray 2 times.
What about flax intercropping? Does that reduce your spraying?
It does for sure. It does for sure. We haven't had in Moose Jaw, we haven't had a lot of success with intercrop, but a lot of people have. Just don't bank on a yield bump, but maturity level for sure. The separation of the flax and the chickpeas is quite important. We normally don't have time to do that with separate bins and all the different things. But if you can separate the flax, we've seen normally like a 25% reduction in fungicide with the intercrop with flax.
Greg, I've seen some lots, because it was becoming a common practice in Saskatchewan, with the flax tag on the chickpea.
With the flax tag on the chickpea. Chickpea is an appearance thing. The bigger the better, the whiter the better. It's all appearance for most markets. So now all of a sudden, for whatever benefit agronomy will perform, if you have flax tag, you're not selling that into a European market.
Yeah, so to keep furthering that, sorry, we're way over time here, I'm sorry. If you're gonna grow flax intercrop, we would recommend a very small rate of flax. So the higher the rate of flax, the more likely you're gonna have flax tag. And flax tag does look bad, it looks like dirt. It looks like kochia tag, if you're all familiar with kochia, I'm assuming everybody is. Koshia's a problem with, no kochia here,
No kochia here.
is Alberta kochia?
Yeah, same as rats, yeah.
Same as rats, yeah. So kochia tag, earth tag, flax tag, those are all bad things. So you can manage your flax tag with a small percentage of flax in your intercrop. We do have a few producers that do that. I can help you a little bit with those numbers, but it is a small number. It's like something like 8 to 10 pounds an acre of flax, max. You're not trying to grow a flax crop with this intercrop. You're trying to grow a really good chickpea crop.
Well, I think we better give these guys a round of applause. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you.